welcome to Old Age Matters. Old Age Matters because old age really matters. Today, we're dealing with senior health, and which is a very important topic. If you have some older people, seniors who will be interested in this, can you just get them on your device so that they can watch and they can also contribute? It's a learning it's a learning class we're in. We're all learning. We're going to learn together. We're going to know new things together. I have with me here my beautiful wife, Susan Akono, and also we have three other panelists. The first one is Juliet Opoku. We also have Eugenia Hesse and then Florence Timming. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about them. Juliet Opoku is an RN, graduated from the Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. She's uh, uh, geriatric health, to name a few. She also wears many hats with many careers in the health field. She's a fully certified diabetes educator. Um, uh, she is also a health promoter. Who else would we get than somebody who promotes health? She also deals with chronic ailment management. She educates through a health and wellness company, the Living a Balanced Life Inc. She is a health lead at the Ghanaian Canadian Association of Ontario, its health wing. She oversees and coordinates and provide health education through many avenues to the Ghanaian community in Ontario and beyond. She's also got a wonderful blog, uh, living living a balanced life.com, and you may want to check her out for all those wonderful things she writes. She's also a YouTuber of health and wellness, um, uh, lifestyle management, and she has a channel, Living a Balanced Life with Julie Co. Julie O. So it's OO. So Living a Balanced Life with Julie OO. I want you to just get to YouTube and check her out. She provides health education through Sankofa Radio, 101.1 FM, Sankofa Radio in Toronto, Canada. It's a Ghanaian operated internet radio station. They promote health, disease prevention, and chronic illness management through interactive education and community with community members across the globe. They do this on a monthly basis. She's also on Omni TV, a channel through Ghana Can TV, with talks on community health and resources. Um, uh, she does an amazing job in the community. And so, if we want to talk about old age matters and this serious matter, I think we are privileged to have Juliet Opoku with us. The next person on there is Florence Timming. Florence Timming is not new here. Florence has been here before. She is the director of lesson services at a Genesis facility in Manchester, New Hampshire. Um, Florence, we are privileged to have you here. Since you are not a visitor, we know a little bit more about you. We also have Eugenia. Eugenia works with old people, seniors, and she's a manager of a unit. Eugenia is a registered nurse, and we've heard a lot about Eugenia and the wonderful things that she does at work. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome all of you, all panelists. Welcome to tonight's program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Awesome. Well, senior health is very important. As a pastor, I take it very seriously because God is interested in us. God is interested not just um, uh, when we are young, but also when we are adults. Remember in Genesis 34:7, Moses was 120 years. And now we have a lot of centennials. So it's easy to relate to this. When he died, yet his eyes were not weak, nor his strength gone. There's a possibility that you can be 100 years and still strong. And there are people there who are like that. They don't have any major diseases or, sicknesses. And it may be due to so many factors. Maybe they have great genes. Maybe they are blessed. Maybe they took care of themselves when they were young. Many, 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 many factors. But God wants us to live long. The reason why so many people don't want to live long is the fact that they think when you are old, you're going to struggle, you're going to suffer, you're going to be sick. It's not everybody that is old that is down and out. There are some older people when you meet them, you ask yourself questions.
Yeah.
Seniors, there are a few um, health concerns. Some of them is arthritis, some of them heart disease, some cancer, respiratory, respiratory diseases, Alzheimer's, osteoporosis, um, diabetes, influenza and pneumonia, falls, substance abuse, obesity. But we will not be able to exhaust it. We are bringing these ones in, these panelists, to help us to dig into old age health, what we can do to live a better life, what we can do to prevent some sicknesses and diseases, what we can do to help somebody who is a senior that we know, or somebody we can reach out to, or sometimes we want to help, but we don't know what to do. So I will start first and foremost with Eugenia. Eugenia, what do you think is one of the common health challenges of the older generation, the seniors?
Thank you, Pastor Albert. Thank you for having me on this panelist. As you all know, my name is Eugenia. And since I've been working with older or seniors for about 15 years now, I can verify that some of the most concerning health issues that affect this age group is falls. That I've seen a lot. So that's the topic I will be stressing on today, because falls is a major issue at this age group. And what I mean by this age group is age 65 and older. Usually when we talk about seniors, we're talking about people age 65 and older. So that's what I'm going to talk about today.
Okay.
So if you say false, that would be one of the obscure ones. Is it a big problem?
It is a big problem.
It is.
I deal with data. So research has been done for many years, and we found out that fall is number one concern for older adults. We have about 1 in 5 falls
Oh, wow.
that cause major injuries,
That's high.
and this sends them to the ER. Most of the people that we get, especially where I work, most of them have fallen, been broken a hip or head injury or something. So they come for rehabilitation, and chances are they're gonna go back home and fall again. So fall is really a major concern.
Wow.
Yeah.
Florence, why do a lot of older people fall?
When you grow, you tend to have balance issues. So when you have balance issues, um, the result is mostly falls. You might have other bone issue like osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, and sometimes, and what I want to also stress on, I'll be talking after, I want to talk about is confusion. And I can say like Alzheimer's disease. So if you're not well coordinated, you don't know where you are going. If there is something in front of you, you might not even know you will trip. And then they normally don't have any safety awareness.
Oh, I see. Juliet, if these falls are that dangerous, what can I do for a senior to help a senior to stay balanced or stay afoot?
So it all goes back to, like you talked about, God wants us to live full life and take care of us. So taking care of yourself now, when you're younger, helps you when you're older to, for example, to build bone health, to build healthy bone. So then when you are older, even if you were to fall and you don't have osteoporosis, the chances of fracturing and causing injury or death is less. So it's just looking at the whole person, the whole person, and then what you can do to help them. So looking at their nutrition, looking at their home environment, looking at their mental health, right? Because like Alzheimer's disease, like my sister said, is a big thing. If that's there, it affects the way the person perceives safety, and that all works into it. So if the person has chronic illness, plus all these other comorbidities come on top of it, then it's a recipe for disaster. So it can lead to fall. So things we can do now for ourselves and for our aging population is to look at the whole person, looking at nutrition, exercise habit, our stress level, our mental health, and looking at the whole person to put things in place to prevent all those complications later on in life.
Juliet, you make a very good point here. Juliet is talking about how we can prepare for this. What do we do to prevent some of these things? I'll come back to you, Eugenia. What are some of the things? I mean, I had mentioning diet and the rest, but I want you to add to that. What can we do to prevent some of these things?
I mean, if you are in a home setting, I'm used to the work setting, so I can tell what. But if you're in a home setting, that most people are, you can take a look around your home. If you have a loved one who is within this age group, even if they are in the lowest age group, you can prepare yourself because it's gonna happen. You can you can look around your home, look around, see like the rugs. Some number one falls that happen, people trip over rugs. We have a lot of rugs in our homes for
Wow.
decoration on the floor and everything. So
Right.
take a look at the rug. If it's not really, if it moves a lot, people usually trip and they fall. They slip and fall. So those are the things you can look at the home. So the rugs, then you can take a look in your bathroom. Our bathroom, most of our bathroom have tiles, which is also a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
People usually fall in their bathrooms. And sometimes when old people fall in their bathrooms, people don't hear it when they're alone in a home. So usually what people do is they put like a bar in the bathroom that they can hold on to
Mhm.
that will keep them steady so they don't fall, or they can use a non-skid tiling on the floor that is non-skid, that when they sleep, at least they can keep their balance.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also another thing is, as you get older, your eyesight is also bad. So
That's right.
Mhm.
eye checking in with your regular eye checkup, visit with your eye doctor is also another big issue. So you can have your vision, examined regularly.
So
So I
basically,
think
we have to make sure that the home environment
environment is safe
are
because most
placed
falls happen at
properly.
home. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah,
mm.
yeah.
So
Okay.
anything that is trip hazard, we have
Yes,
to really make
yeah.
sure is out
It's
of the
in
way.
place. Railing is a big help. Railing, stairs, everything.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll come back to you, Juliet. Um,
Mhm.
these things are, we can prevent some of them, but you started this line of thoughts, which I think is very interesting, because if we improve our physical health, then we can help with these things. Can you just speak a little bit on that for us?
Yeah. So when it comes to senior health or any health, right? So the main thing with seniors is you want to prevent, you want to improve mobility, right? So my sister's talking about falls. So you want to improve mobility, and you improve mobility by going back, looking at the person's nutrition and their exercise back. And then you have to also look at their chronic, like if they have other chronic illnesses. For
Right.
example, if someone has diabetes and now they are getting older, like 65 and older, because of the diabetes, there's so many other factors that can cause issues. Right? Sorry, I'm just gonna plug my computer in before it shuts down. So there's so many things that can cause issue for the diabetes, because diabetes itself causes decrease in blood flow. So there's a lot of issues with numbness and with like if they're numb and they step on something, let's say for example, they won't be able to feel it.
The neuropathy.
Yep.
Well, she'll be back. It's
Yes.
when you need
Oh,
these systems, they shut down on you. So we'll come back to you, Florence.
Okay.
Um, this is a challenge because that means we are not doing much to prevent some of these health hazards when it comes to our seniors. Can that statement be true?
Not really. As I mean, there is room for improvement. There is more we can do. Not that we are not doing much. Um, and it's sometimes so it depends on the situation. As Juliet was saying, um, for instance, if they have diabetes and they have neuropathy, there is nothing you can really do about that, because the person did not take good care of him or herself, or for some unforeseen situation, and the person ended up having neuropathy. Yeah, stepping down, the person might fall because they don't even feel the.
Those words are big. Diabetes, neuropathy. What's that?
Okay. So so okay, okay, Pastor. I'm sorry. So yeah, you don't feel your. I mean, the nerves in your legs are all should I say destroyed. So you can step on it. Sometimes you can even step on fire. You wouldn't even feel it. You can step on a nail. You can't even feel it.
Wow.
Because all the nerves are destroyed.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is why sometimes residents with diabetes, they do have wound that becomes not healing. Like it takes forever, or it will never heal because there is no blood flow because the nerves, and I mean it turns into something else, and then vascular issues and all those things. Yes, so it is very easy, and well, not easy. You can take yourself when you have diabetes. I'm diverting a little bit from false. You can take very good care of yourself with diabetes. It is challenging, so sometimes people just ignore it. Oh, I'm not even going to check my sugar. If I don't see it, then I won't bother.
Welcome back, Juliet. Okay.
Sorry.
So yeah, so sometimes lifestyle is very, very important, as Juliet was saying. You start from childhood. You don't start from adulthood. Yet if it's late, you can still continue, but from childhood you start to take good care of yourself. You don't get to 50, 60, 70 with diabetes that is type 2 and it has now changed into type 1. At that point, it's already probably affected your eyes, name it, affected almost everything. So you start early to take good care of yourself. You eat well, you exercise. For some of us, exercise is out of our dictionary. Is out. So
exercise.
Yes.
I hear you.
So a little bit of everything, so because if you don't start early, it will get to a point. I mean, there are people who are 100 years old who still have diabetes because they took very good care of themselves. So it is not a death sentence when you have diabetes. It's not. It's how you take care of yourself.
All right. So then I'll go back to Juliet because she brought this problem of exercise. Take care of yourself. What age is the best age to start taking good care of yourself, Juliet?
So that starts, like my sister said, at very young age. So whatever we do for ourselves, like I always tell people, whatever you're doing to take care of yourself, you have to include your children in it. So if you're going for a walk and exercising, because our kids watch what we do more than what we say. We can sit there and say a lot of things. So what they're watching you, you're exercising, they're watching what you're eating, like managing life, all of that plays a role. So exercise, as long as the child is getting 1 hour of play exercise, so running around doing their own thing for 1 hour, that's good for them, right? It's good for it's building their mental health capacity. It's helping them control all the different hormones. So if they have even a chance of getting diabetes, that's being reduced, right? And then so at any age, you can start exercise. But if you start earlier, it helps you because, for example, we're trying to prevent osteoporosis and osteoarthritis and all the other chronic illnesses that can, like, of course, genetics plays a role, but what we do also plays a role. So if you know your family history and you know that in my family this kind of thing runs in the family, then starting early to do the exercises, building good bone masses, this all helps you prevent issues later on in life. So exercise could start as early as long as the child can walk. You should encourage them to exercise, reduce screen time. I know now with the COVID, everybody is glued to the screen and kids don't have much. But make a point to take the kids out to exercise, because we're teaching them that life is all about a balance. You exercise. There's time to play. There's time to exercise. There's time to exercise. There's time to be on electronics. There's time to eat healthy. All of it works together to help you build strong bones and help you build mental resilience, and also prevent a lot of complications and other chronic illnesses that are out there. So at any age, and exercise doesn't have to be that you have to go to the gym. The walking, dancing, swimming, all of it counts as exercise, as long as it's in 10-minute block. It helps.
What if you go on your staircase and come down? Isn't that exercise?
That's exercise, right? So as long as, of course, when you're doing that, you're timing yourself, right? So don't go on the staircase for 2 flights and then you say, I'm tired, I'm done. Make sure you're timing yourself so at least you're getting 10 minutes, right? For it to count as exercise, there has to be 10-minute block. So as long as you're timing yourself and you're going up and down the stairs for 10 minutes, it counts towards your exercise, right? Yeah.
So Juliet, you are talking about incorporating this healthy living.
Yeah.
Right from when we are young.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the generation we are in now. We have more gadgets, more things that make life easy for us to live than our forefathers lived.
That's right.
We have things to make life easy, but it has not helped our living.
No.
Compounded with the way we are living life right now, families have basically no time being together.
Yeah.
And it's so easy. Even sometimes I watch, maybe we come to church or you go anywhere and you have a gathering of people with children, and you can see how the parents easily hand over their phones to their children to play on so that they can have some peace of mind.
Yeah.
And so in times past, when all these gadgets were not there, even if you have 1 hour, it is actual playtime.
Yes.
Or what you invest that 1 hour in is productive generally for the body.
Yeah.
But right now, entertainment is all being at one place, playing games, fixated on this little rectangular screens that are before us.
Yeah.
Are we setting our generation up for failure when they are old?
Yes.
Or our young ones, the new generation, are we really setting them up for trouble when they are older?
Yes, because we know that screen time, studies have shown that screen time increases a person's appetite. So when you are watching TV and eating, you're not really paying attention to how much you're shoving in, right? So, and that could lead to weight gain. Before diabetes, type 2 diabetes, we used to say it was adult onset. Now, a lot of children are being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes because they're not moving much. And they're staring at the screen, so they're eating more. They're not exercising because they're sitting and playing games. So yeah, we are setting that. So you have to, and I know it's hard as a parent and have kids and have multiple kids, and with everything and all the stress that's going on, it's so much easier to just hand them the phone, like you said. But at the same time, make a point that every day you have some time that the kids are going to play, and you drag them. Like I drag my kids to go for a walk. And sometimes, especially when they were younger, they were excited. Now that they're getting older, some of them don't want to go. But I tell them, it's not a choice. We have to move, because if not, then our joints get stiffer. We gain more weight, and if we gain weight, it leads to a lot of insulin resistance, which can lead to diabetes. It can lead to osteoarthritis. We're not exercising, so osteoporosis can set in. And especially if we're eating empty calories and not watching what we eat as well. All of that compiled together, it's just a disaster. And so every little movement you make a difference. Just even knowing that I'm going to make sure I set my phone, and every 1 hour I'm just going to get up and walk around, still makes a difference, because we need to sit less and move more. And that's what helped the past generation live much healthier and with less disability, right? Wow. So everything counts. Every little thing you do makes a difference in terms of your overall health.
Good. Juliet, you mentioned some big words: diabetes 1, diabetes 2. What
Yeah.
is that?
So, so there's diabetes is an autoimmune disease. So diabetes 1 is an autoimmune disease, meaning that your body does not make the insulin that it needs to function. So in order for us, when we eat food, in order to use the energy from the food, we have to have insulin, which is a hormone in our body, to be able to use the food from the energy from the food. When you have diabetes type 1, usually we used to call the juvenile onset, meaning it used to happen usually in younger population, and because your body just is not making insulin. So for those people, every time they eat, they need to inject insulin in order to utilize the energy from the food. And then there's type 2 diabetes, which used to be called adult onset. And with that, it used to happen in the adult as people age, usually 40 years and older. But like I said earlier, now with the kids not moving as much, a lot of kids are developing type 2. And type 2 means that your body starts making insulin. And when you were born, there was nothing wrong with your pancreas. You were able to make insulin. And as life happens and, taking into your family history, your background, the kind of culture you belong to, and then what we're doing for ourselves, like we're not exercising, we have a lot of stress in our life, we're not eating healthy. All that combined can lead to a person getting type 2 diabetes. So you start off by making some insulin, but it can get this progressive, meaning that every year that you have it, it can damage the organs, it can damage the cells that make the pancreas, make the insulin to a point where you don't make any insulin at all, where you need to also take insulin, like someone with type 1. So it doesn't become type 1, but the management at the end could become where you're taking insulin, because essentially that's what's missing. So diabetes has a lot of complications because, as we think, blood flows through our whole body. So wherever the blood goes, sugar goes with it, and the sugar is in our blood. So diabetes can affect the eye, can affect the kidney, the heart. Every part of your body could be damaged by diabetes if it's not managed properly. But like my sister said earlier, it's not a death sentence as long as you're managing, which is you're exercising, you're watching what you're eating, you're controlling your stress, you're taking your medication as prescribed. All of that works together to help you live a healthy, long life with diabetes, right? So that's diabetes in a nutshell.
Wow.
Okay, if I can ask one
Yes.
question. You mentioned culture,
Yeah,
Juliet.
yeah.
Are there certain diseases that are more prevalent in certain cultures?
Yeah.
What are the different type of?
Yeah, and diabetes is one of them. So, diabetes, usually people of African descent, people of Asian descent, like South Asians, Hispanic, people of the Aboriginal descent have a higher chance of getting diabetes than, let's say, Caucasian, right? Especially
Wow.
if we were to compare all of them, people of the Aboriginal descent have a very high chance of getting diabetes, and people of the Asian descent. So, just just because we're, I'm African Ghanaian doesn't mean I'm going to have diabetes, but
Right.
to have it at the back of your mind that it's there, right?
Mhm.
The chance of getting it is higher than someone, let's say, that's Caucasian. So when you're looking at your life, you're looking at everything that you can do to help yourself, help your kids, help your family, so you can even if you're going to get it, you delay the onset.
Onset.
So, yeah, so then you don't become very it doesn't affect you to become very disabled from all the different complications from diabetes. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh, that's great. This question goes to Florence. You mentioned Alzheimer's and all these cognitive diseases.
Mhm.
Um, Tell us a little bit about it.
All right. So, um, also dementia. There are different kinds of dementia, and sometimes people interchange dementia and Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a type of dementia.
Oh, right.
So it's just a type of dementia.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, and dementia is a term used to describe severe changes in the brain that cause memory loss.
Mhm.
These changes also make it difficult for people to perform basic daily activities. In most people, dementia causes changes in behavior and personality.
Mm.
Most cases of dementia are caused by a disease and cannot be reversed.
Mhm.
Wow.
Alcohol and drug abuse can sometimes cause dementia.
That's right.
In those cases, it can be possible to reverse the damage in the brain. But according to some studies, reversal happens in fewer than 20% of people with dementia.
Wow.
And these are types of dementia. And Alzheimer's is top, but I just want to just mention Alzheimer's, vascular dementia, Lewy body dementia, Parkinson's can lead to dementia, frontotemporal, Creutzfeldt-Jakob, Wernicke-Korsakoff. That is one is the alcohol.
Eh? The question has a name disease. Okay, continue.
Mixed dementia, normal pressure hydrocephalus, Huntington's disease, and other causes. So there are a lot different kinds of dementia. Alzheimer's can last more than a decade.
When you say it can last more than a decade, does it mean it can just go away?
No, it can go. It's not something that like I have Alzheimer's and I'm going to be cured.
No.
So it will be there with
It
you.
progresses.
You can slow the progression of it.
Progression, but
That's
yes.
it. Yeah.
Yes. It tends to develop slowly and gradually worsens over several years.
Mhm.
Wow.
What are some of the symptoms? If somebody is having Alzheimer's, how do you know that they're having Alzheimer's?
All right. So the first one is preclinical Alzheimer's disease. That one you will not know. It is only during research when they see that, they call something the protein called amyloid beta. When they see it on your brain, you can function, but it will still be there. It will not alter anything you do. So that one is preclinical. It will never show. The second one, mild cognitive impairment. And people with cognitive impairment have mild changes in their memory and thinking ability. These changes aren't significant enough to affect work or relations. You may have trouble judging the amount of time needed for a task. So instead of you using 20 minutes to do something, you might use 40 minutes or a whole hour you sitting there doing it. But this doesn't mean when people are, some people are forgetful. So if they are getting slower, it doesn't mean they have Alzheimer's, but these are some of the signs.
I know there's something about forgetfulness when it comes to Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Because I remember one of my paternal aunties, grand auntie,
Yep.
who used to come visit us, and I think she was having Alzheimer's, and my dad would go to work and come back and say, "Have you eaten?" Says, "No, they've never fed me. I'm so hungry." And we said she was a witch. We didn't know she had Alzheimer's. She wanted to get us into trouble.
Oh my God.
Because the funny thing is that if you gave her more food, she would eat it.
True. Because she didn't remember that she ate.
Yes.
She didn't remember. She will eat. Yep.
Yeah. So then the question is,
Mhm.
any one of you can pick the answer. But the question is, if you are living with the aged, an elder, and all these changes are happening, as a third party to the person, what can we do to educate ourselves to pick on some of these things so that we don't misjudge and then subsequently, in some cases, mistreat people because we are not interpreting the changes that are happening in their lives? We are not picking the cues. What can we do?
I think it's education. If you don't know about Alzheimer's disease, you are really going to be frustrated with, if you're a caregiver, for instance, if a mom has Alzheimer's and I have no idea what it is, I'm going to be very frustrated because by the time you come, she has the keys in the fridge. She has the phone on the stove. She has this over here. So it's education. And anyone with Alzheimer's needs 24-hour supervision. 24-hour supervision.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
So
also,
who should be doing the education? What form? When you say education, what form is it going to take?
I think
Um,
Juliet,
Go ahead.
who was going to talk?
to add on that, education usually comes about when usually your community senior centers, they usually have somebody that do like community nursing, and providers can give some form of education on the disease, because on a normal lay person who has no idea about Alzheimer's, which most people don't, it's very hard to differentiate between old age, normal old aging, and Alzheimer's, because there's a big difference. Like
Wow.
Pastor Albert says, we think they are witches because
That's what I thought.
yeah,
Times.
you think, and that's what sometimes we see in African communities. They think they are witches because they've forgotten where they lived. They end up in somebody's home. They usually can't speak. They usually have hard time finding words or naming objects, or even forget their name. So those are not normal aging. There's a problem with the brain. It's a disease. So teaching comes from those that know about the disease, and they can give you awareness of it or teach you how to do it. But a lay person will usually normally, their brain or their thinking will not prompt them to say this is Alzheimer's or this is dementia, because most people that I talk to have not even heard of dementia. So their thinking is just normal aging. And
Eugenia, I remember I had a conversation with you. By the way, Eugenia is my niece, so we share some background. And I'm going to talk about my mother, who is your grandmother.
yeah,
And so she's been going through some health challenges. Sometimes she gets very well, and sometimes she plunges.
yeah.
And I remember after a very bad episode late last year, I was talking to you
Mhm.
how difficult she has become when you are giving her food, and
She's 90 years.
my mom is 90, and she has her cognitive, everything correct. She is good. Her mind is alert.
It's
She's
there.
not
Yep.
degraded in her mind in any way. She can express herself. She can tell you what is going on with her life. I mean, she's herself. Apart from the age, she's at a good place. But when she was very sick last year, and she became extremely difficult with her food. And I remember having a conversation with you, Eugenia, and you were telling me that, you know what, it is old age. Their taste even changes as they grow old and
Yep.
all that. We were really frustrated, especially when I was living with my sister briefly at that point, and my sister was getting sick, just taking care of her in that period because of how difficult she
Yep.
became.
Was that just simple old age?
So is that old age, or is a sign of
With her, that is clearly old age. She was difficult when she was young anyway. So, of course, so
we are talking about my mother here? Be careful. We are on social media.
with time, I mean, when you get old, I mean, anything happens. When you get old, you be like, you know what? You don't care what people say anyway. So, with age, people really don't care about a lot of things. So, yes, with her, is old age. Because she's very sharp. She remembers people's names. She can tell you a whole history. You can have a whole conversation with her. She
Yeah.
remembers all the details. She knows
Everything.
where she lives. So with her, it's not dementia. Is and when old people or seniors are sick, they have what we call delirium. So sometimes they have infection. It can cause delirium. It can cause them to lose their faculties. Losing their faculties, they get confused for just a short period. That is medically induced. So when you treat the underlying cause, so let's say if they have any infection, You treat giving them antibiotics, you treat that, and they get back to their old self. So that is truly not dementia. Dementia, it never, people with dementia, they have infection, they are more confused.
Yeah.
They are more delirious.
Yeah.
They're seeing things, they're seeing the hallucinations, they're seeing things crawling on the wall. When you treat that, so we go back to what we call the baseline. We know they have dementia. When they have infections, they get more confused and they see things. We treat that. We don't want them to say, I see things crawling on the wall anymore. Then we know, okay, they're better.
Yeah.
But they're not going to get, there's no cure for dementia. It's going to get worse over time.
Right.
We just slow the process.
Yes.
From
The key point that you mentioned that I just want to clarify is very good. That so like you're talking about your grandma, you knew that you know her personality.
Exactly. Yeah.
The difference is with dementia and with Alzheimer's disease, there's a change in personality. So it's not the same person anymore. That's the key. So if you're with an old, you live with the elderly, and you see these changes happening, right? You can have a conversation with them just to see how cognitively how connected they are. If you see things happening here and there, you can book appointment with them to go and say just for annual checkup to check, because there's so many different medication and there's so many different prevention measures that are there. So we don't want to keep saying it's old age, and it gets to a point where it's the treatment. They're getting the treatment, but the benefit is less because it's progressed so much. So the main point, and I like that, is knowing the baseline of the person you're dealing with, because then if you see the personality change, that's the major key. That something is wrong, and then you can progress and get help from that way. Yeah.
Wow. This has been so rich, but we're going to go for a short break and we'll be back. Don't touch your phone. Just stay there. We are back with these wonderful ladies, Juliet, Eugenia, Florence. They are pouring into us. Get somebody along, share this. Let somebody also learn from it. There may be somebody who may even need it more than you do. So call a friend, talk to somebody, let them all tune in and listen. We'll be back. Don't go away. Welcome back. Welcome back. What an amazing topic we are dealing with, senior health. The interesting thing is everybody's going to grow and God desired to live long. And so I'm learning a lot, especially when they mention the exercise. I learned a lot.
Before you go on, can I say that if anybody in the audience have questions, we have 3 able professionals here, as you can see. Please don't come to us directly. We cannot answer. We are pastors. So send the questions in and let's direct it to them as we are having this program.
All right. So, Juliet, you were speaking about this wonderful exercising, walks, and improving your health. Do you have any tips for us how to improve not just the physical health, but also the mental health, and how to manage some of these chronic illnesses?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And remember, everything we do as a person, everything we do affect our mental health, our physical health, and everything. So whatever, when you do one, it benefits the other. So for example, with exercise, like I said earlier, for it to count as exercise, it has to be at least a 10-minute block. So you're getting your 10-minute block exercise, and then you count it. Your goal for the week should be the minimum is about 150 minutes per week. So, for example, if you do 20 minutes exercise 7 days a week, it helps you meet the minimum, right? And the minimum exercise helps you with, keeping your like maintaining your weight, right? So you're not maintaining your weight and improving your blood pressure, your cholesterol, and if you have diabetes, improve your blood sugar. But also, exercise improve our brain health as well, right? So when we're exercising, our body's releasing the feel good hormones. So the serotonin, the epinephrine, and the dopamine, these are all the things that are released into our bloodstream when we're exercising, and that helps us improve our mood, right? It reduces stress levels, and then all of that also helps because when we're stressed, our body is getting sick. Whenever we're stressed, our body is releasing so much stress chemicals that can affect us to get more sick. So if you have diabetes and you're stressing, your blood sugar can never be in control. If you have high cholesterol and you're stressing, and you have diabetes on top of it for blood pressure, it makes it go higher. So when you exercise, even though you are thinking of physical health, mentally it's also helping because you're reducing your stress hormone levels, you're improving the good hormones that helps you stay healthy, stay connected. We're talking about Alzheimer's disease, all of that helps. So exercise is very important. It's just as important as taking medication. For example, if you have chronic illness like hypertension or arthritis, osteoarthritis. So exercise if you can, and it doesn't, like I said, you don't have to join the gym. As long as you're getting you're walking, and you're really timing yourself. And sometimes, we all get tired, and then when you do a 5-minute walk, and you're huffing and puffing, thinking, "I've done so much," but then it's only 5 minutes. Even though it's good for you, it doesn't count towards your exercise goal of 150 minutes. It has to be at least 10 minutes for you to get the benefit of the exercise, right? So making sure that you're timing yourself, setting goals for yourself, and you always start slow and you work your way up. So if you haven't exercised for a while, don't say I'm going to do a 5K walk and do that, right? Because you're going to harm yourself. So slowly build on your tolerance and then build on your exercise, and that helps it. Same with everything else, healthy eating, all of that, right? You start slowly and you work it into your routine because you want this to become a lifestyle so you can continue. It's not a quick fix, right? It's never a quick fix. It's a lifestyle where you want to adopt it, teach your kids, teach your family members so you can benefit from it in the long term. Yeah.
Right.
So if I can ask Eugenia, so Julia just spoke about lifestyle in terms of diet, your nutrition, exercise, etc. My question is, are there particular nutrients or vitamins that one needs more as you age, that even if we are not getting it through nutrition, we should still find ways, maybe through supplements, to introduce into our lives if you are older? Are there particular things that you need as you grow that you have to increase in your diet or take in ways by means of supplements to make
Okay.
sure that you are maintaining good health?
Yeah. So for the most part, I've seen seniors take a lot of vitamin D supplements. because as you get older, of course, you deplete your vitamin D's. That's hence you get osteoporosis and all that. So calcium, vitamin D, I've seen a lot of seniors take that a lot, and I've known research that says all the other vitamins are the B's and the C's, unless you're really deficient, which you have to do blood work for. They don't really touch anything. You take vitamins when you are in your 30s, and when you get older, it actually works for you in your benefit. But vitamin D is most important because he has to deal with the bones, calcium and vitamin D. And as we get older too,
Right?
what?
It brings us back to the issue of falling.
Exactly. So it all has to do with balance and your bone density. So tripping, we know if you get older, you're not as young to break your fall. They're very slow in breaking their fall. So them breaking their fall, they break a bone in the process. So usually vitamin D is the most calcium. Vitamin D is what I've seen seniors take most of the time. And also nutrition wise, the nutrition is very poor. So usually we focus on that. Dehydration is one big thing, one big issue that also facilitate falls. So we watch those, and most
Facilitate fall.
yeah,
How
and
does
also because when you have less nutrition, of course you become weak. If you're dehydrated, you become weak. It affects your body system.
right?
And you becoming weak, you become unsteady when you walk.
Right.
So it's easy for you to trip and fall
Right.
and break something. You might not really get hurt, but most times it becomes a serious fall for older adults. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to exercising and general well-being, I know that the exercise I'll do as a young man like me, maybe when they are growing, like my wife, they will not be able to do it. So, what is your recommendation? Say for older people, what type of exercise would you recommend for them? And it's to all of you. Anybody can answer that.
Well,
So
you want to balance it, right? You want to the exercise you want to include aerobics exercise and resistant exercise. The resistant exercise is any exercise where you're working with weights or against your body weight. So that is helping you to build, build stronger bones and build that, like your sister said about falling, like you're building your muscles because as we get older, our muscle mass decrease, and because our muscle mass decrease plus with broken bones combined together, if you were to fall or to even sneeze, you can break a bone. That's how osteoporosis starts. It's not only falls, even sneezing or picking up something, you can fracture. So doing resistant exercise is very important. And so when you're going for walks, I always tell you when you're going for a walk, if you can carry, and it doesn't have to be very heavy, anything that's tolerable. So you can hold like a 2-pounder weight while you're going for a walk. While you're doing that, you're getting some aerobics and resistant exercise at the same time. If you're older and you have, let's say, history of osteoarthritis and osteoporosis, or because you're getting older, right, our system gets weaker, you can do chair exercises. So it doesn't have to be so vigorous for it to be beneficial. You can sit and do some exercises because it's better for you to do the exercise properly and prevent injury than to try to do something that you don't have and then you fracture yourself. So as long as you're getting the aerobics exercise, which is the 150 minutes, and then with the resisting, at least you're doing it 3 times a week. So you don't have to do it every day, 3 times a week, like every other day. It's a good way for you to build your muscle mass and build your bone density. And then the sisters say taking your calcium and your vitamin D supplement help you to absorb the calcium you need for you to build bones and then to help you prevent any kind of falls or fractures that can lead to so much more complications. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Any of you want to add to it?
Yeah. Okay. So, as we're saying, most of us really, really don't like to exercise. But one thing that I also noticed is some kind of exercise. Some people like music, like Zumba. It has a lot of music in it. So, in the same way that music is in Zumba, you can still dance play music and dance. Dance so you sweat. It's exercise.
Right.
You enjoy doing it. And you might not see it as exercise, but it's real
It is.
exercise.
Yep.
It is. It is.
So anything that you enjoy doing. So it shouldn't be only going for a walk, being on a treadmill. Dance. Just stay home and keep dancing and
That's
sweat.
right.
What about house chores?
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
mhm.
Also, you can, it depends on what.
It depends on- yeah, exactly.
You have to be, the idea is keep moving. The idea is moving and moving and moving.
Yeah.
So if you're doing house chores, make sure you're moving from point A to B, not sitting down and be like, I'm doing house chores.
Yeah.
You're not moving.
And the house chores
Is exactly, so it's movement.
you have to do for it to count as exercise and say I'm working towards my exercise goal. It has to be apart from your normal routine because everything I do is already built into my system. So for me to get, it's good for you to move at any like anytime you even from sitting to standing, it's all good for you. But to count as an exercise goal, it has to be outside your normal routine. So, for example, the house chores, if you normally don't vacuum all the time and you're vacuuming and you're moving around, that's exercise. If you're moving along because you don't do it all the time, that counts as exercise. If you're doing deep cleaning, if you have kids like me and you're doing deep cleaning, that's exercise because you're really working and you're moving things and you're sweating. But if it's like the normal routine stuff, it's good for you to move, but it doesn't count towards as your exercise goal, right? But like I said, dancing is an excellent way of getting people to move because it's also helping your cognitive. Like we improve it reduces our pain, it reduces our anxiety, it reduces depression. So it's like you're getting so much benefit from the exercise when there's music involved. So like YouTube has a lot of videos you can put there with your kids or and then all dance. Even if the music is playing, you're walking back and forth, it still counts because the point is we want to sit less and move more because we're trying to prevent stiff joints and build bone masses so we can prevent the falls, like my sister is saying. It's a major thing when someone gets older. Yeah.
I think that one answers the question from one of your audience. The question was, is counting your money exercise too?
No.
Oh, it does. Moving and dancing and counting.
I think that's the exercise.
So we
You gotta
got that
move
one.
and dance and count that money.
Dance and count the money.
Now, one question I want to ask you again is, how much exercise is too much for older people? Because they may not have that capacity, that strength to do what a younger person would do.
Yeah.
What will you not recommend? Because you cannot recommend bungee jumping for somebody who's 90 years.
Maybe they have the strength to.
Yeah.
What do you recommend for
Bungee jumping is
older
a
people?
question.
And you can tell us age groups as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have these small bikes that they can just use their legs to propel. So they'll be sitting down and then they'll propel, and then they have these weights, but not that heavy. So they'll just be lifting their arms, legs, and then they'll be propelling their legs. I mean, not very vigorous exercise, but still they are exercising. Then they can do it for 30 minutes, 45. I mean, depending on how far they can go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds better. Like you say, I can sit down and just raise my
Not
hands
you.
and I'm doing
Not you.
We know you're senior, but not you.
amazing.
I mean, the whole
I
focus
see
on
guys game tonight.
the whole focus on older seniors exercise muscle strengthening. So any exercise like resistance training, like Julia says, is what we're looking for. So it's not vigorous. Some people do the biking if they can. So biking on the actual the bike elliptical, some people can do it, and some people with maybe a hip or any kind of injury, muscle or bone, they can use the bike, the one that you sit down and just use and right. So it depends on the person's health, where they are, and what they can work with.
But the point is, when you're exercising for an elder person, if they're exercising, you want to see the benefit. Of course, with aches and pain, it comes with aging. It's not natural part of aging, but
Yes,
people get sick and all that. So there
Yeah.
might be some discomfort. But if you exercise and 3 hours later you're so sore to a point that you're not being able to move, you overdid it, and next time you need to slow down because you don't want to cause more injury, right? You want to prevent injury. That's the main thing. So do what you can tolerate and slowly build up as you you get stronger.
So if you have somebody who is not mobile,
Yeah.
okay, maybe just by age, by weight, by sickness, but you still want to incorporate some level of exercise so that they can, move the joints, exercise the muscles, and gain some density to be able to live longer. What kind of exercise would you recommend?
So that you need to look at the person. For example, if you're privileged enough and you have coverage to get physiotherapy, you want someone to come that can show you, or you can have them come and show you the type of exercise that's safe for them to do. You learn it and then you can do it on them. It's very important because the main thing is we want to prevent injury because we want to, we want people to enjoy their lives. Sometimes doing certain moves can cause a fracture because with osteoporosis, like I said, and even a sneeze or like a big sneeze or picking up something can fracture because the bone is so brittle. So and osteoarthritis makes it worse, right? And as we know that as people age, these chronic illnesses increases, right, with age. So you want to be very mindful of that. You can have an occupational therapist come to your home and kind of show you what to do. And then we don't have to constantly come, but they show you the right exercises to do, and then you can do that to help them. So moving the arms, moving their joints, rotating, even repositioning them so they're not getting bed sore, all are important way to prevent, so they're not living in agony or pain and suffering. Right? You want them to enjoy their life as much as possible. But if you don't know, ask and get someone to help you rather than trying to do something that can cause injury to them. But if the person is able, like I said, there's lots of chair exercises that they can sit and do, right? And that's good enough because the point is to just move the joint to get it moving so they're not stiff. And if they go to move certain way, it won't cause any kind of breakage or injury. So there's so many different exercises based on the person's need, and you should be very careful what you do.
Okay, so my next question will be, we know that Juliet, you spoke about how one thing we do, maybe physical exercises affect mental, and affect it's a holistic benefit.
That's right.
When we do one thing, it affects many areas of our living. And I'm wondering how emotional health is. What affects an older person's emotional health? And for instance, with things like having family around, grandchildren, how far does that affect the health of an older person?
It does quite a bit, and that's one of the key factors for seniors to have socialization because it does more than just connecting with people, right? Because we know that seniors that are more connected and have family members and have friends, they have activities that they're doing in the community. It helps them, first of all, improve their self-esteem. It helps them cognitively. So people that are more involved and have family around all of that, there's a less chance of them getting like different kinds of dementia, like Alzheimer's disease, right? So it's very, very, very important to connect an older person, even if there's nothing you do. And I know there's all these exercise groups that are out there in the community. The main point is, yes, it's exercise group, but the bottom line is to connect people together because we're not supposed to be alone. We're social beings, and being with somebody does connect us cognitively, and that, of course, when you're cognitively functioning well, it affects how the rest of your body is going. So it's very, very, that is, I would say, one of the number one things that you should do besides healthy eating and exercising is connecting and being socializing and getting people involved. So at church, if there's programs that you can do for seniors, getting them together, it's excellent for their mental health and emotional health, because it makes people feel like they belong, and that just that idea alone can help a person if they're going through any kind of chronic illness. It can help them heal, right? It can help them heal. Isolation kills faster than anything else. So if the person is in good health, they're eating healthy, but they're very alone, the chance of them living long is very little, because that social aspect is gone. So connecting with people, connecting with loved ones, and making people feel and checking on people is a very, very excellent way to, help our cognitive and also help our physical functioning, because everything is connected. Everything.
We can say that when you have an older person in your family, your mother, your father, an auntie, whatever, the older people in the family, we should make sure that we are coming along as children, seeing them, the grandchildren coming along around them.
Yeah,
That will all contribute to their longevity and their health.
that's right. That's
I will
right.
give
It's
an
very
example
important.
about my mother when I spoke about her being sick, very sick last year. And one of my sisters, just for proper care, decided that, it is better if she moves in with her, which usually she will resist, but she was very sick at that point. So we were surprised when she accepted to go stay with my sister.
Of
But
course.
she was there and she was the most difficult. Yes, grandchildren were there, but she wanted to go, she was forcing to go to her house.
Hmm.
She was
Hmm.
forcing. And eventually we allowed her to go home.
Yes,
And as soon as she got back, her vitality changed her because she was connecting to church.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she has a church community that excites her.
that's right.
Able to go to church where she wants to go to church. And really, I followed her to church one day, and she was like the queen of the church. you know, everybody sees her, they have names for her, and she's bossing them around. And,
But
that was
that's a good point. You want
Exactly.
you want to help people, but you want to help them at their level,
at
right?
Yeah.
their
Because
level.
sometimes we think people like my mother's getting older, I'm just gonna move in. You have to slow, because remember they're people, they have their own personal experiences, their own
Mm-hmm.
personal life. So you have to move in to help them, but at the point where you can meet halfway, right? Because we don't want to overtake everything. But because, for example, if your mom moved, like if, for example, my mom, if she moves from Toronto and come live with me here,
Mhm.
I don't think she'll be at, yes, her grandkids are here, but she still has a social connection there.
Mhm.
So very important that we offer help, but we support more than we, remove people, because that can do worse. Because remember, isolation for us to we all want to feel that we have a purpose, that we're connecting and we're, you know, helping in the society, we're contributing. So when all of that is removed because now I'm old and I have to live with certain person, it's very hard, and that's usually when the hardship comes in, where they're very difficult because they want to. I mean, especially if you're the child. I mean, they gave birth to you, so you can't tell them what to do. That's first of all, right? So we just have to slowly work our way into it, offer the help, and then also looking at their cognitive. If they're well off and they're cognitively there, then just offer support, right? It come a point, unfortunately, for some people with Alzheimer's disease, they can't make that connection, but then we make the decision for them. But as
Right.
long as the person is cognitively active and they're will and they're mobile, we should support them to be in their own environment as much as possible.
Yep.
That help them live longer and
Mhm.
help them improve their health.
Awesome.
That is amazing. Time is fast spent.
Mhm.
There's a few questions I would have loved to ask, but just before we go, I want to throw this in. Old age brings its own challenges. Some of these old age issues and sicknesses and diseases. Now, if I have an older person with me and the person is not there because of her age, how do I help them when they are not feeling well? How do I help them? Because how do I even know? Because they may not even know. What do I do?
Okay, I want to add something to what you're saying. Um, when you are with somebody with Alzheimer's or somebody who's very forgetful, and I'll say Alzheimer's, you have to be in their world.
Mhm.
You have to be in their world. So if you go and um as I said before, the keys are in the fridge. You don't scold her.
Mm.
You don't. Um, you have to. So you be like, oh, it looks like the key is sitting in a different position. To say something that don't make her feel guilty, because you know what, you're making her or him guilty at that moment, and that person is going to cry, but the next moment she will not even remember. So why are you even making the person cry? Why are you doing that? So be in their world, live with them in that moment. So that is the best way to live with an Alzheimer. Don't be frustrated, because they're also frustrated.
Very frustrated.
Mm.
Very frustrated.
Yeah. So that is the thing. They are already frustrated. So the only thing is be in their world. So he said, okay, I'm waiting for a bus here. The person is standing in the living room. And the person say, I'm waiting for a bus. You're like, yep, let me give you a chair. The bus will be coming in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because in 5 minutes, she'll forget she's waiting for a bus.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Wow.
That's right.
Interesting.
Well, I think this is getting better and better, but time is not on our side. Juliet Opoku, an amazing voice.
you.
Eugenia Hesse, what knowledge, wealth of knowledge.
My goodness.
Our own Florence Timming, what amazing woman. We thank you so much for spending time to educate us. I know that this will go a long way, and may need you back, because we just scratched the surface
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
This is an amazing topic, talking of the older generation. And I think we do ourselves a good service if we bring their matters to the forefront. And for those who are watching, maybe you're overwhelmed with an older person and you don't know what to do, reach out for help, call for help. There are networks in so many cities and places. Talk to somebody. Don't suffer alone.
That's
Because
right.
when you keep these things in, sometimes they turn out to become abusive, emotional abuse, verbal
That's right.
abuse, physical abuse. They don't need that. In their prime age, we need to let them feel comfortable and happy. They should leave this world with a bang. All our goodness. This is the time we have to show it.
That's
And if you're an older person and maybe you don't have all these support systems around you, we are praying with you, because we believe strongly as believers that God is able to bring help to us when we need it most. You are not alone. And so stay blessed, somebody. It's been an amazing series. We'll be back next week at the same time, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday.
We'll be treating planning for retirement.
We'll be treating planning for retirement. And the week after, we'll do the fun things senior people do. It's still going to be amazing. But we want you to come around again, share this video, be a blessing to somebody. God bless you for watching. And it's a good time also, if you want to give an offering for the work we are doing, it's a good time to give an offering and sow into the work we are doing. God bless you and have a good evening.
Have a good evening.
Shalom.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.